So you bought Dragon Ball The Breakers and you're ready to team up and do some bug bullying. Well, hold on, because this game's got a big learning curve, and if you don't know what you're going into, you're going to get wrecked. If you're coming in from other Dragon Ball games, you gotta know that this isn't a fair fight for you, and you need to think a little less Goku and a little more Krillin. If you're coming in from other asymmetric games like Dead by Daylight, you gotta know that this game is more about completely avoiding the killer, instead of wasting their time with long chases. If you're at all confused about how to best handle the game, or at least how to avoid being a burden on your team, this is the one video you should watch before jumping into your first game of The Breakers. When you start the game, Trunks will give you some pretty unhelpful directions.
Can you hear me? It's Trunks. I've set a super time as well as a
Don't worry, you'll learn to filter him out. What you're gonna want to do is split up and start playing Gotcha. Randomly spawned on the map are breakables, chests, and civilians. Breakables sometimes have goodies inside and must be introduced to democracy. Chests are opened the boring way and tend to have better stuff than breakables. Civilians can be saved and always give you change power. What's change power? I'm glad you asked, it's actually a very important Anyway, these goodie bags will be peppered all over the map, but the gold mines will be in buildings or little caves like these. Just by grabbing a bunch of these, you'll start getting stronger and more prepared for when you'll inevitably have to face down the raider and try to actually win the game. There are two ways to outright win the game, and one way to not win but save yourself from a humiliating defeat. Sometimes when you open a chest, you'll see a time key, which looks like this. You can unlock secure an area by finding the giant orange light and sticking the key in. Do this for all the areas, and the super time machine shows up in the center of the map. It charges slowly by itself, but you can give it a boost if you're feeling risky. Once it's fully charged, you win. The Raider is not invincible and can be hurt with your change power. Their health is here, and if it hits 0, you win. Normally, this is nearly impossible because you do like a toothpick's worth of damage, but there's a surprise tool that can help us, and I'll talk about it later. If enough of your friends and loved ones are dead, or if the super time machine gets destroyed by the Raider, you'll want to find one of these blue lights, call up a time machine, and live to fight another day. You can take friends with you, but don't go out of your way to do this, because if the Raider finds you, they could destroy the time machine, and then everyone is screwed. So with these options, you might be thinking, what are my priorities? Do I go for keys ASAP? Do I try to find good items? Do I try to level up my change power? What is the most important thing for me to do? That's a trick question. These are all wrong. The most important thing is to not die. This game is brutal with death and doesn't have anti-camping protections like other games might have. If you are caught by the Raider, you will die fast and usually no one will rescue you. You start the game with a barrier that will protect you once from a Raider's attack and give you a few seconds of invulnerability. Another hit and you go down. You're likely to bleed out unless you have a particularly generous teammate come and revive you once the coast is clear. But if you go down a second time, the Raider can execute you and remove you from the game entirely. You can tell if the Raider is nearby from the heartbeat, which gets faster the closer they are. Once you hear the heartbeat, you should start planning your escape. It's always more important to run away and survive instead of sticking around and getting greedy for just a few more items. This is where your skills and change power finally come in. When you get enough change power and transform, you'll be able to take some extra punishment without dying, but more importantly, it gives you flight and extra speed. Use this speed to get out quick because your change power is on a precious timer, and it goes down if the Raider hits you. This is best comboed with the grappling hook. Aim somewhere far away for a super fast escape and use your change power to keep the gap. Be warned that change power and active skills have a long cooldown, so save them for quick getaways. Now when the super time machine is available, your team is ready to turn the Raider into ashes, you'll eventually need to square up and fight the Raider yourself. I hope to make more videos specifically on how fighting works, but here are the sheer basics. While you're not using change power, you can't fight the Raider. Just don't. While you are using change power, you need to make sure the Raider's number isn't bigger than your number. If it is bigger, also you can't fight the Raider. Just don't. Save your change power for escaping. If you match or beat the Raider's number, congrats, you can square up in a fight. Survivors have 4 core fighting techniques. Remember that you're on a time limit. Go in, distract or damage the Raider, but have a plan to get out when you're running low. Your time limit, damage, and endurance change based on your power level. This game has Dragon Balls, which is a surprise tool that can help us beat the snot out of the raider. There are of course 7 of them, and if one person gets all of them, they can make a wish here. Survivors have 2 options and 1 good option. The most important thing is that it doesn't have a timer. That means the raider can't stall out your transformation, and you can really pick and choose when to fight. This is way better than the alternative wish of giving every living person a normal power level with no other bonuses. Here is the risk of Dragon Balls though. Only one person gets to make the wish, and they need all 7 Dragon Balls. That means that unless you're in a group, you need random people to agree on who gets to be overpowered. Good luck with that. If that wasn't hard enough, the raider can also find and steal Dragon Balls from survivors they kill. If they have any of the Dragon Balls, you need to fight the raider and make them drop the Dragon Balls to get them, assuming he doesn't kill you and take your Dragon Balls instead. And those are Dragon Balls in a nutshell. Now, I don't have any transitions for this, but there are a bunch of other cool things to know that don't really fit in other sections, so I'm just gonna list them all in a lightning round here.
Oh, fuck.